from back here?
We can, and I'll turn off this one so that it just doesn't distract you guys. I usually pull the PowerPoint up too, but I'll turn the camera off on that one so it doesn't distract you. Okay. Yep, whenever you're ready, go for it.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that introduction. I always like to joke with the audience, believe it or not, I'm actually not a high school athlete, but actually a high school coach. So all joking aside, I really appreciate you sharing your time today with me to learn about something that is very important to all of us here, how to best help kids. So to begin, I'm going to ask a favor from you guys. Can everybody please take out your phones? No, I promise I'm not going to collect them. But we do digital sign-ins for all of our workshops. So can you please text the following number, and that number is up here on the board. Can you text the number 650-763-2405. Again, that number is 650-763-2405. And if you forget that, it's right up here on the board. And in the body of the message, can you please include the following information? Hashtag or pound sign, depending on what generation you grew up in, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your first and last name, and your email address. Again, all this information is up here on the board, but in the body of the message, you include hashtag or pound sign, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your first and last name, and your email address, and then click send. So once you guys click send, you'll get credit for being here, which is awesome. And then you guys will also continue to receive support from PCA above and beyond the workshop today. So you get the weekly coach talking points, as well as conversation starters that you can use with your team, and PCA's monthly newsletter. Once you guys have hit send, you should get a confirmation text. Once you've got that confirmation text, hold your phones up in the air. That way I know when we're all ready to move on. All phones go up. Woo! Uh-oh. So today we're going to talk about coaching so that I can get a better idea of who I'm working with in the room today. Can you please stand up if you have coached for at least 3 years? Awesome. Great. Continue to stand if you have coached for at least 5 years. Love it. Continue to stand if you've coached for at least 10 years. Whoa, look at you guys. And continue to stand if you've coached for at least 20 years. That's awesome. That's great. You guys are coming in with a whole bunch of great experience and background. Today's going to be a really good workshop. So I invite you now, think back to your own athletic days and your all-time favorite coach. What made him or her so special? Take 15 seconds to think of this favorite coach and what made them special. All right, and now with the people around you, could be a group of 2, group of 3, group of 4, whatever. I want you guys to share about your all-time favorite coaches and what made them so special. So if anybody here would like to share, go ahead, let's hear it.
I'll share. Sal Rodriguez, coach of multiple sports at the local Boys and Girls Club where I grew up, and just the attention that he gave us, the way he made us feel important, and you just knew that he really cared about us. That was Sal.
That's awesome. Would anybody else like to share?
I'll share. Coach Sacco was the first coach who treated me like I felt like a human being, like a grown-up, and I really thought that was kind of crazy that he talked to me and not at me.
That's awesome. That's great. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else?
Mine was Michelle Finnegan, college field hockey coach. I was coming off a really rough win at all cost high school experience in field hockey and thought D1 athletics was going to be 10 times worse. And it ended up being the exact opposite. She got to know each of us, took us out for pizza, brought us to her house for a pool party, like the first week of preseason, and just really cared about us as people first before she ran us into the ground.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Anybody else like to share? Is Ryan still mute over there?
Am I still having phone issues?
No, we can hear you. It's just low.
Oh, huh. Well, I'll try to be louder. Don Campbell was my bantam baseball coach, and I think what I really respected from him is he found out specifically what motivated me, and was able to specifically direct all of his attention in that direction when he spoke with me, especially as we were doing one-on-one work. So again, that individualized attention helped a lot.
That's awesome. That's great. Thanks for sharing. So in the workshop, I would have done this like small group instead of sharing out to everybody.
Yeah.
So I would have circulated around and listened to conversations, and then getting back into the group, I would say, so listening to your guys' conversations, it sounds like you guys have been blessed to have some really awesome coaches in your lives. Why is this not working? There we go. All right, so raise your hand if you've ever heard of PCA before, ever come across of us, ever done one of our workshops before. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of us. Awesome, great, love it, Ryan. So PCA stands for Positive Coaching Alliance, and we are a nonprofit that was started at the Stanford University Athletic Department in 1998. And we are an alliance whose goal is to help all coaches today become like those coaches you guys just talked about. We are on a mission to create a better sports culture, one that is best for our youth. So as you guys can see here, PCA has been very busy since 1998. And I'm going to point out this PCADevZone.org website. This is a website with a whole bunch of great tools and resources for issues that will come up as the season goes on. How to deal with tricky parents, how to deal with bullying on your team, how to show officials respect, all awesome stuff like that. So this is definitely something I recommend checking out after this presentation today, and a great tool in your tool belt. Positive coaching. What do you think of when you hear those two words? What pops into your head? Take 15 seconds to think of one word that you associate with positive coaching. All right, let's hear it. What do you guys think? What do you think of when you hear positive coaching?
I wrote down caring.
Caring, awesome, love it, great, thanks for sharing.
Encouraging.
Encouraging, great, thanks, Ruben.
Supportive.
Supportive. Ryan said supportive.
Else?
Enthusiastic.
There you go, awesome. So you guys absolutely nailed on the head with those words, but there's a couple words I didn't hear. I didn't hear win, I didn't hear winning, and I didn't hear competitive. But those three things are definitely a part of positive coaching. We want you to win, and we want you to be competitive. As we all know, some of the best life lessons that we've learned come from competition, both wins and losses. Our job as coaches is to provide the environment and support for that best possible performance. So here's our definition of positive coaching: creating an atmosphere that supports best possible performance. So just like we said there, we have the power to create that positive atmosphere that is best for athletes and does lead to the best possible performance. So using the most recent psychology findings, as well as best practices from the great coaches out there, what we have found is that a positive approach to coaching is what works best for athletes and leads to those peak performances. So this is Dr. Fredrickson, and she's one of our National Advisory Board members, as well as a psychology professor at UNC. And through her research, she has found that there's a perception that the best way to get what you want out of employees or players is by negativity or threats. But negativity doesn't work as well as positivity. I'm going to reread that last line again. Negativity doesn't work as well as positivity. She went on to say that positive emotions are especially contagious, and a leader's positive emotions are more contagious than anyone else's. Guys, as coaches, we are those leaders. Leadership is spelled E-X-A-M-P-L-E. Our positive attitude, our positive actions can be those agents of change for today's sports culture. So Sports Illustrated is on board too. In a recent article, they said that study after study shows the benefits of a more positive approach. So this is not just research backed. The best coaches and the best athletes agree as well. We have a national advisory board made up of over 30 different professional athletes and coaches. And here's a snapshot of some of them. And they endorse and support us because they know that a positive approach is what works best. So looking at the faces on this screen, who do you recognize? Go ahead, shout them out.
Janine Tucker.
Yeah. Who else?
Julie Foudy.
Yep. Yep. Anybody else you recognize?
Steve Kerr.
Yep. There we go. So all of the people up on this screen here love to win. They are definitely competitive, and that is what PCA is all about. What I love is that there's a whole bunch of different sports represented up here. There's football, basketball, soccer, baseball. This is not just a one sport thing, but a whole sports culture thing. So we've heard how awesome positivity is, but what does negativity do? What does a negative style of coaching do? So research has found that negativity does two things. It takes the mind out of the moment, and it distracts from the task. And we all know that those two things definitely do not lead to peak performance. So a couple questions. Stand up if you agree that a positive approach to coaching works better than a negative approach. Awesome, love it. Thanks for standing. Go ahead and have a seat for me. So then why in the world is there so much negativity in sports today? What I want you guys to do, take out your book, open up to the front cover, and I want you to write down your answer to why do you think there is so much negativity in sports today. Take a minute to write down your answer. Fast forward through a minute. Would anybody like to share about why they think there's so much negativity in sports today? What'd you guys write down? Let's hear it.
I wrote down one word.
Let's hear it.
Money.
Money?
Yeah, you know, at certain levels, the money involved is so huge, so big. You know, the difference between going to a bowl game, not going to a bowl game, you know, getting a hit, not getting a hit, can mean millions of dollars to an organization or even to an individual. And that's, you know, that's what we see when we turn on TV. You know, that's typically what we see. We don't, I mean, occasionally we see a youth sports game, but usually it's pro, it's Division I. And I think that money influences people towards that, you know, to do whatever it takes to win, even cheat, even yell and scream, throw tantrums.
You nailed it on the head, Ruben. Thanks for sharing. Would anybody else like to share?
I think personally, I think it's a lack of a better way. There's a lot of inexperienced coaches that really haven't had a lot of training. And so they just coach the way they were coached. And sports is emotional. And I think they just let the emotions get the best of them. And when they're upset, they yell. When they're happy, they smile. And I just think they don't know of a better way.
Yep, definitely. Thanks for sharing. Would anybody else like to share? All right. So what in the world are we going to do about this? So our vision, using the most recent psychology findings, as well as the best practices from the great coaches out there, we want to create better athletes and better people. In fact, that's our PCA motto. Better athletes, better people. Indulge me. I want us to play us a little game here. I'm going to say better athletes, and I want you guys to say better people. Better athletes.
Better people.
Better athletes.
Better people.
One more time. Better athletes.
Better people.
Better people.
There we go. Awesome. So the life lessons that we focus and reinforce today in the training will not only make your athletes better athletes who win more games, but they will make them better people in the long run. So on this mission of better athletes, better people, you have support from PCA above and beyond just the workshop today. So you get a research-based coaching model to help guide you. You guys get to take this book home. This book is awesome. This is something I look back to all the time and definitely recommend you guys look back at it as well. And you get some more ongoing support. You guys get the weekly coach talking points as well as the PCA Dev Zone website that I talked about earlier. So with all this in mind, what does make a great youth sports experience? I want you guys to grab your books again, open up to the front cover, find some more blank space, and I want you to write down 3 things or 3 ingredients that makes a great youth sports experience in today's world. Take a minute to do this. We'll fast forward through the minute. So what I want you guys to do now, once you have your 3 things, I want you to find a partner, somebody next to you, somebody behind you. I want you to find a partner and share what you wrote down for your 3 things. Take 2 minutes to share. So 2 minutes goes by, everybody shares. So what we have found is that a meaningful athlete experience is made up of 3 things. Number 1, feeling connected to teammates and coaches. Number 2, believing that they can improve. And number 3, feeling proud about acting with integrity. Raise your hand if you've experienced any or all of those 3 things through sports. Awesome, great, love it. So our coaching model is built on top of those 3 things: connected, improving, integrity. So connected, feeling connected to teammates and coaches, we call that filling the emotional tank. Improving, we call that the elm tree of mastery. And acting with integrity, we call that honoring the game. And I like to think of that as sportsmanship on steroids. So here's a quick little video from one of our National Advisory Board members, as well as former NFL player and head coach Herm Edwards. And he's going to talk about your legacy as a coach. Skip through the video. Like we heard Herm just say, when the book of your life is written, will it say that you made a difference? So what I want you guys to do now, one more time, open up the front cover of your book, find some more blank space. And I want you to write down just 1 sentence, answering the question, what do you want to be remembered for as a coach? When you are all done, what do you hope your players have to say about you? Write down 1 sentence to answer that question. Take a minute to do this. Fast forward through the minute there. So as you guys go through the training today, and as you guys go back to your practices and games, this sentence should always be at the forefront of your mind. So today you guys are at a double goal coach workshop. And by the time you guys leave here, you guys will be double goal coaches. But what in the world does that actually mean? So raise your hand if you like to win. Awesome, I would expect no less. I'm going to raise both arms because that's how much I love to win. The double goal coach definitely strives to win, but on top of striving to win, they teach life lessons. So it's both striving to win and teaching life lessons, both going hand in hand. So thinking about life lessons in sports, what are some life lessons that sports have taught you? Take 15 seconds to think of some life lessons that you've learned through sports. All right, let's hear them. What'd you guys think of? What are some life lessons that sports have taught you?
Never quit.
Yeah, definitely.
Teamwork.
Great, love it.
That you're stronger than you think you are.
Nailed it on the head. Awesome. Great. Thanks for sharing those, guys. So the life lessons that we focus and reinforce today in today's training are meant to be incorporated along with the skills of your sport. And we're going to use 3 main principles to help you do that. Number 1, filling the emotional tank. Number 2, the elm tree of mastery. And number 3, honoring the game. And that's all I got.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. How'd you feel doing it with some pressure on you?
It was good. It was good. I just one little mix up, but like I've heard you say in the videos, you guys know ahead of time what I should be saying, what I shouldn't be saying. But in the audience, I felt like I kind of handled that well. Yeah. Just kept going on smooth.
I don't think I even caught it. I didn't think I caught anything that you mixed up. So that's good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ross, so did you use any notes as you were practicing today, or were you just?
I did not. No, I've just
okay.
memorized it.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. You know, you were presenting to us in standard mode. You know that you can turn that into a slideshow where the slides on the left disappear. Yeah. Okay. Just, you know that.
So the problem that my computer, when I did that, it would pop up on the screen here, and so it wouldn't be able to see you guys.
Gotcha.
It was on both. It was
strange. That was a good solution. That was a good solution. The reason I asked about notes is, Ross, I thought your content and mastery was very, very strong. Very strong. Some of the language you used. I mean, I know some of it was yours, but some of it, you probably got from Kelly and from the trainer script. But you did a nice job of making it sound like it was yours. You really owned it. So
thank you.
Congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Ruben. So moving forward, Ruben, if you had a suggestion for Ross moving into the second demo when he gets into the principles, what would it be?
Can I do two if they're quick?
Nope, only one. No, you can do two.
It's good being Kelly's boss. One is possibly a little faster on the first 3 slides or so. I thought the pace. I thought you picked up the pace as you went, and it felt more comfortable to me as a participant when you got a little faster. So maybe a little faster early, and then the other thing is, by the time you leave, you'll be a double goal coach.
Okay.
So no, I'm quoting you.
Oh, yeah.
So what are you not saying that I might be hearing as a participant? By the time I leave, he's going to make me a double goal coach. What might I be hearing that between the lines?
You aren't already.
Exactly. Yeah. It's subtle. Just caution you about coming across making the assumption that I'm not already a positive coach.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How would you word it then? What would you say a little bit differently?
By the end of the workshop, I hope you all will be more excited than ever about being a positive coach, a double goal coach.
Okay.
Something like that. I think there's a number of ways that you can tweak it just a little bit.
Okay. That definitely makes sense.
I say a lot too. Hopefully by the end of the workshop, you're going to hear some great tools that you hadn't thought of before. And those of you that are doing these things already, it's going to reinforce what you're already doing.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
Just a way to keep it that way.
One more, by the time you leave, you're going to have a complete understanding of what PCA means by being a double goal coach. Because when you say it that way, you're not saying that I'm not already. You're just saying that I'm going to have a more complete understanding of how PCA looks at it.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That makes sense.
Small thing, okay?
Yep.
Small thing. Yeah. Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome. Ryan, would you like to scream some comments into the microphone? Now you're actually on mute. So we actually really can't hear you now. Unmute first. There you go.
Sorry, I have no idea what's going on with my mic.
We can hear you.
Okay, good. I thought you nailed it, and I'm actually not surprised that you didn't use notes, especially after watching your TEDx talk, Ross. So I think just from the time we met, you've embodied what it's already been to be a double goal coach, and I think it's just natural for you to go through that progression. So I thought it was really smooth. It honestly looked like you've done it for years, and I love the fact that Kelly and Ruben's comments are really just fine tuning as opposed to whole scale changes, and so that's a testament to what you're bringing, and I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Levi, what do you think? If you were sitting in Ross's workshop, what'd you like? And then do you have any suggestions for him?
No, it was awesome. The only, like I said, I want to learn more. The only thing, and I wanted to ask you guys, I like how Ross kind of put his own spin on things, which was really cool. But like the term or the phrase, this is, and I forget what you said, this is whatever on steroids. Like is that something like steroids? Or do we want to, I don't know. I heard that and I was like, ooh, I wonder how that's going to play out.
Kelly, I'm going to respond because it's funny. Yeah. I had a slight reaction to that phrase too. Honoring the game is like sportsmanship on steroids. It wasn't so much, I mean, mentioning steroids, that didn't bother me so much, and I think you can, we could use it, we could not use that term. But the phrase as a whole, sportsmanship on steroids, I don't know if that one resonated with me so much, I don't know.
I use a quote, and I don't know if you heard this from the video. I had a student once tell me that honoring the game was sportsmanship on crack. And so sometimes I'll bring that up at a workshop saying, just to be funny, to actually quote what a kid remembered, because I was back at a high school and I was asking them if any of them remember the principles. And I said, who remembers what honoring the game is? And he said, it's sportsmanship on crack. And I was like, wow, okay. But you know, it wasn't me saying it as a PCA representing PCA. It was me actually quoting a student to be funny. So maybe there's a fine line there, but
see, both of those to me feel like, to me, I'm one person, feel like it's sportsmanship at a ridiculous level, you know, and that's the impression, that's kind of what I hear and feel. Whereas sportsmanship at a very pure level, that sounds, I don't know, I like that, something like that better.
Okay. No, that's a good comment.
Levi, when he mentioned it too. So
yeah. All right. That's what feedback's for. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Ross, I also felt like you were very professional, and it was great to see you. Usually, you know, Ruben and I do so many of these, and sometimes there's like a, you know, it's almost like that, like, why did he say it that way? And I didn't have any of that. It was very, very comfortable. What I'm going to challenge you to do more of is sort of get out of teacher mode and into more relaxed. And I think you're going to get more relaxed as you go. But some of the best trainers are ones that connect to the coaches right away. And you did a nice job connecting to us by asking us, who was the coach? I forget how you phrased it. Who was the coach that was special to you? Oh, who was your favorite coach and what made them special? That's a fantastic question. Who was your favorite coach? Who was your best coach? And why was that? You know, I want to hear more about you. I want to hear more about your experience. I think right in the beginning, stories are a great way to connect coaches to what you're talking about. So getting to know a little bit more about you. And I find this is just my observation, you know, coming from myself being a teacher as well.
Right.
When I'm in teacher mode, I have a different voice than when I'm in storytelling mode.
Right.
And I have found other people have said, I like you better in storytelling mode.
Okay.
You know, because you get in that and you're so professional and you're so smooth, and that's great for sometimes, but mixing it up, throwing in a story, throwing in a quote from a kid, throwing in a, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just did that. You know, just to mix it up, vary the tone, vary the pace will keep your coaches more enthralled in what you're saying. Moments of unpredictability really keep people's interest. So throwing in some of those can make it a lot of fun for you, and a lot of like, oh my gosh, you know, I love it when sometimes I'll yell something at a workshop to quote a kid, and you see the guy that was sleeping in the back row, like look up, like, oh my gosh, like I wasn't expecting that. But then they listen for another couple minutes because they're like, what did you say? So just encouraging you to look for opportunities to do that.
Got it.
But I mean, everything about what you did, from giving them clear directions to 15 seconds to think about this, to alternating learning methods by writing this down this time, sharing with a partner, sharing with a group. I mean, all of that, you can just tell that this is what you do. So that's exciting, because that's not something most people do naturally, and I have to teach a lot of people. So it's good to know.
Thank you. Yeah. Ross, don't be afraid to tell them about your athletic prowess too, in terms of what you've accomplished in your career, because I think that builds a lot of credibility when they're hearing from you.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny how many people with that have a very high level of athletic achievement, when they become a PCA trainer, they don't mention it. And we had somebody in Minnesota that played professional ice hockey, and through the entire demo did not even mention one thing about playing professional ice hockey. And I was like, Blake, what are you doing? And he's like, well, you know, I don't want to brag. I'm like, that is your thing. Like that's what people want to hear. We want to hear stories from your experience. So never hurts to throw in a good story.
Okay.
Freeman hardly ever references the fact that he played in the NBA.
I know.
And I'm like, come on, man.
Killing me, dude. You're killing me. I know. I got to stand on my head and tell stories because I didn't play in the NBA. So you got it, man. Use it. All right. Levi, you ready to go?
Ready to roll.
Do you need me to pull up the PowerPoint? Because I have it here if you want to see it. Or do you have it there to be able to see it?
I have it. Man, Ross is going to make me look bad. He had his projected and all that. One of the videos I watched, it seemed like, I don't know, that we could just like imagine that I'm like going through the PowerPoint. So I apologize for that, Ross.
No.
You're good, man. It's all right, man. We'll get after it.
More people don't have that than do. I have it pulled up here. So if you need to see it, you can click on that little box at the bottom that has it in there. It'll make it bigger. If you have it there to see, I'll just follow along with you. So
perfect. All right, cool.
So whenever you're ready.
Everybody, and welcome to PCA's Developing Triple Impact Competitors Workshop for Coaches. We use the term workshop very intentionally because you're not here for a lecture. You're not here to listen to me run my mouth. Rather, I'm just here to kind of guide an interactive workshop. And I'm blessed. I just want to tap into the wisdom that we have here in this group. So what I need you to do first is grab your cell phone device, and I would love if you guys could sign in for me, all right? And if you see up on the screen, there's kind of an example there for you. What you do first is text the number 650-763-2405. You can see it up there. Text that number with these 3 pieces of information. You're going to put a # and then the number 6421. Put your first and last name on the 2nd space, and on the 3rd space, just your email. So no spaces, the # and the number, your first and last name with a space there. The 3rd line should just have your email. And what that does is it allows this to just kind of be the first point of contact between us today. You'll receive a ton of great information via your email inbox through weekly emails. You'll also receive a certificate of completion tomorrow. And lastly, it just kind of allows the PCA to track all the amazing things that you guys are doing out there in your community and through this great nation. So go ahead and text that information right now. And once you do that, you should receive a confirmation text back. If you don't, when we're done today, come on up to me and I'd be more than happy to go through that with you. So what I would like to do is just kind of learn a little bit about you guys. So if you've ever been to a PCA workshop before, go ahead, raise your hand for me. Nobody. Hey, this is going to be awesome. All right, this is going to be so cool. What I would like you to do is, if you are a first-time coach, can I get a hand? First-time coach. Awesome. Really cool. So we've got one guy in the audience who's done it before. Sir in the white T-shirt there.
Yes.
What is your name and what sport do you coach?
So my name is Ross Hartley, and I coach high school cross country and track.
Oh, man, that's awesome. See, Ross, I'm going to learn from you because I was a football player. And I played football. I played on the offensive line because we would work hard for about 3 seconds and then take a 35-second break. All right? So you are the kind of guy, I love it, who likes to get after it, and you're an endurance athlete. So we've got some other sports here hopefully represented. If you are a basketball player, can I get a woo-woo?
Woo!
Oh, cool. We got basketball. How about if you are a baseball coach? Can I get a woo-woo?
Woo!
All right. Cool. And we have one other gentleman, sir, in the audience. Gentleman with the lovely earbuds in. What is your name and what sport do you represent today?
Ruben, volleyball, woo-woo.
That is awesome. Well, it is so great to meet you guys. Has anyone here heard of the Positive Coaching Alliance before today?
I saw the commercial on the Super Bowl last year, but that's really all I heard about it.
That's awesome. There's always somebody who watches the game for the commercials, right? You got to watch. That is terrific. And I know the Philadelphia Eagles won. A lot of people were excited about that. So congrats to them and their first Super Bowl title. Let me tell you a little bit about the PCA. So each and every year, we train over 80,000 coaches, which is really awesome. And we've impacted more than 3.3 million athletes. So let me just ask you guys then, what does the term positive coaching mean to you? Just shout it out.
Being a good role model.
A role model? Okay. Can I get another one?
Fun.
Yeah, fun. All right. Anybody else?
Energy.
Yeah. All right. This is all awesome stuff. And actually, positive coaching, what we would like to do is, God bless you. We would like you to not only inspire all those things in your athletes, but we want to take proven scientific research and just allow you as a coach to get peak performance out of your athletes, which I think we're all very interested in. But our motto at the PCA is better athletes, better people. So not only do we want to give you proven strategies and tactics on how to coach positively, but we would like to give you specific tools on how to implement this in your coaching style. So As the science comes out, we are learning more and more about the power of positive, that coaching in a positive way actually gets the best out of our athletes. And one of our PCA National Advisory Board members, Barbara Fredrickson, out of the University of North Carolina, she's done over 25 years of research, which is, she's probably forgotten more than I'll ever learn about this stuff, but she's done over 25 years of research, and she's found that positive coaching is far superior than coaching in a negative style. A couple of years ago, actually, Sports Illustrated came out with an article just kind of emphasizing this, that old, outdated, kind of in-your-face, win-at-all-cost coaching, kind of screamer, yeller, that kind of thing, it's outdated. And what we've learned is the power of positive, that it's actually a contagious, when you're around someone, they're like a thermometer. They're going to rise up the energy of the entire group. So that's what we're interested about. Elite coaches know this. It's not just something that, again, we've made up. It's proven. And you can see Brad Stevens and Steve Young, and you can see some of these expert coaches. You see Steve Kerr. These people feel so strongly about positive coaching that they have volunteered to serve on our National Advisory Board. They want every athlete, especially their own kids and grandchildren, to play for a positive coach. That's why they invest their time in it. And we've actually learned not only the power of positive, but the negative effects that coaching in a negative context can have. And you can see proven sports psychologists here, Charlie Mara of the Cleveland Indians and the late Ken Ravizza. Gosh, man, don't want to get choked up with that, but man, they have found the negativity in sports and what it does. So I'm going to make a statement. If you think it's true, I'd like you to stand up and give me a woo-woo, just like we did earlier. All right. And if you don't, feel free, stay in your seat. But here's my statement. Tell me if you agree. Positive works better in terms of coaching athletes, and negativity distracts. Woo-woo. All right. All right, we got to work a little bit when this workshop's over on your guys' woo-hoos, and that's on me as a coach, as a teacher, so we're going to invest in that. But I guess then why is there so much negativity in sports? Why? And just feel free to shout them out here. Why do you think then, if there's research that says positivity works better, why is there so much negativity?
Lack of self-control.
Sir, what do you mean by that?
Well, I think sometimes we know that, I think some of us know that being positive works better and that yelling at a kid doesn't make them better, but we don't control ourselves. We let our emotions get the best of us and we blurt stuff out that is not productive. Yeah. Or we slam down our clipboard and don't have self-control not to do it.
Yeah, common sense is not common practice all the time. All right. Yeah. Anyone else? Why is there so thank you, Ruben, a lack of self-control? Anyone else think about something else about why there's so much negativity in sports?
I think a lack of control of situations that are ongoing. So as a parent, you don't have control over your kid in that certain instance, and you feel like by blurting out, you tend to gain a little more sense of that control back.
Yeah, that's a great point, Ryan. Thank you for sharing that.
It's kind of status quo for so many years. That's what's been around, and you do what was done before you.
Yeah. Has anyone here had that unfortunate experience of being coached by a negative coach before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Well, let's just talk about then the vision of the PCA. So we believe that the purpose of youth, high school, collegiate sports is to develop better athletes, but also better people. We just think that high school, youth, collegiate sports is such a great platform to provide so many teachable moments. I know as a coach myself, I would not be the man I am today if I did not play high school football for Coach Sacco, if I did not play high school tennis for the same man, Coach Sacco. Our strategy then today, guys, is to equip you, the coaches, but also parents and athletes and leaders with just proven strategies and tactics based on research. And again, I just want to be clear that positive coaching is about also making better athletes. So we'll talk about that. It's really a win-win. So by being here today, you will receive so much support from the PCA. One, like I keep talking about, is a research-based coaching model to kind of help guide you through this upcoming season. I'm a high school football coach, so we have our first game in 45 days. We're getting ready to rock and roll. But I know, Kelly, you shared with me that you were a volleyball coach, so we're kind of in maybe different places. I'm not sure if you guys have started practice yet or whatnot, but we're all in different seasons. The other thing you're going to get is practical tools and ongoing support through your email, like I talked about, by signing in. The last thing is the awesome resource of this book that you can go through and you can highlight it and you can mark it and you can come back to it whenever you would like to. So what I would like you to do is find that person next to you, to your right or left, doesn't matter, and ask them the question, what makes a great youth sports experience for student athletes? So go ahead and talk about that. All right, Ryan, I saw that you were talking with John over there. I'd like you to share one thing that John had to say about this amazing experience.
John said support.
Support. Do you agree with John?
Very much so.
Absolutely. All right. Kelly, what is one thing your partner had to share?
We talked about success, that nobody likes to have a losing season. So some of the best seasons we remembered were ones where we were pretty successful. We won a lot of games and did well. Absolutely.
Would anyone else like to share?
We talked about learning and improving, getting better. That feels pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
First time you make a left-handed left-handed layup, that's pretty cool.
Heck yeah. I'm a physical educator, but I do not demonstrate when it comes to left-handed layups. All right, that's part of the gig as the PE teacher. So when I get that, Ruben, I'm going to give you a call. We'll celebrate together. All right? What we have found at the PCA is that a meaningful experience for these student athletes, number one, involves them feeling connected to their teammates and or a coach. Number two is the feeling that they can improve, right? It doesn't matter where you start, but that we're on a journey to get better. And the third thing is that they feel proud about acting with integrity, honoring the game, we call it. So I'd like to ask you now, and we're going to go back to that same partner, but if the players you coach felt connected to their teammates, or you, the coach, if they thought they could improve, and if they felt proud about honoring the game with integrity, what does that look like to you? So I would like you to share with a partner real quick. Okay, coaches, how does that feel to you? Kelly?
I just think a lot of the issue, I coach girls lacrosse, and I think a lot of the issues are because of friend issues. So if all my kids felt connected to each other, there would be a lot less issues. The other issues are because the girls think they're not good enough. They make a mistake. I can't do it. I can't catch the ball. So if they really believe they could improve, their attitudes would be a lot better. And, the integrity part, I mean, there's always behavior problems when it comes to 12-year-old girls. So I think, that would just take care of itself as well. So I think it'd be pretty awesome.
Absolutely. And what I heard you share, Kelly, are the same things I go through, and I coach high school boys in a sport like football. I think no matter what sport it is, we all have some of the same issues. And what I love about the PCA is that we give you proven tools to help you combat that. So how we do it, how we kind of get that connectivity is through filling a player's emotional tank. How we get them to feel that they can improve is through the elm tree of mastery. And how we get them to honor the game and feel proud about that is with our integrity is through honoring the game. So let's hear now from Herm Edwards, the head coach of the Arizona State Sun Devils, about understanding your legacy. You play to win the game. All right. Got Herm going on. All right. Thanks, Coach Edwards. We appreciate that. Now, what I'd like you to think about, it's one of those things that you've got to remember where you are, where you were, but also where you're headed. And this season will come to an end at some point. And I'd like you to do some self-reflection right now, is to think about, how do you want to be remembered by your players? What if I asked one of your players in 10 years, how is, Coach Johnson, what would you want them to say? So let's take 20 seconds right now and think about that. All right, thanks, guys. Could you go ahead then and turn to your partner and just share kind of what you came up with and maybe tap into some of that wisdom from him or her? All right, Ryan, would you mind sharing with me one thing you learned from your partner about how she wants to be remembered as a coach?
Joan really wants to be remembered as a mentor, a great mentor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Ross, what is one thing you learned from your partner?
Positivity. They want to be remembered as being a positive influence in their lives.
Absolutely. Kelly, what's one thing that you individually want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for somebody that just cares about them a lot, just loves on each of them, no matter how good or bad of a lacrosse player they are.
Yeah. And Ruben, would you mind sharing as well?
Yeah, I want to be remembered as someone who works very hard on behalf of my players.
Yeah, and as coaches, thank you guys, by the way, so much for sharing this stuff. I think we can all learn from each other. But as coaches, I think stipulation number one, maybe besides having a whistle around your neck, but you got to be a quote person, right? You got to love quotes. So I love the quote, what is it? A goal without a plan is just a wish. I think that's the plan. So if we all want to be remembered as a mentor or as someone who makes their players feel good, we've got to have a plan to get there. And PCA's model of the double goal coach, what that does is it takes two things. Number one, the first goal is striving to win. We all want to win, but the more important goal number two, is teaching life lessons through sports. And that second goal is what kind of distinguishes the positive coach and the double goal coach from that win at all cost coach. Because the positive coach, the double goal coach, understands that we can use sport as a platform to teach life lessons. So an example of this would be a star player. The game's close. It's 4th and 1 at the goal line, and he commits a personal foul, right? The win at all cost coach, puts that star player back in, but the double goal coach is going to take him out and tell him, hey, you hurt your teammates right here. We're going to learn from this and move on. So that's kind of the difference there. The other thing is that part of the beauty in this is that the more you teach the life lessons, the more the athletes strive to win. So can anyone else think of an example of a life lesson we could teach through sport? Just go ahead and shout it out.
Resiliency.
Resiliency, absolutely.
Humility.
Teamwork.
What was that?
Kelly said teamwork. I said humility. Winning gracefully,
Absolutely.
Not getting a big head.
And all that goal setting.
Absolutely. Keep going, guys. Come on. Fireworks. Let's go.
Time management.
Time management. Anybody else?
Empathy.
Yeah, very good, guys. Hey, and I've got a feeling that we could probably sit here for this entire workshop and just talk about those life lessons. And that's part of the reason we're all here, right? To tap into each other's wisdom and learn how to be that double goal coach. Someone who strives to win, they bust their butt trying to win, but also say that, hey, These are our youth. These are high school, even collegiate athletes. I like to share as a high school football coach, I have not coached many professional football players in my short time. All right. Doesn't mean that I won't, but I know that every kid that I coach is a son, is a friend, could be a brother, and I hope grows up one day and could be a husband and a father and hopefully a contributing member to our society. So that is it. We want to strive to win. However, we want to teach life lessons that will mold and shape individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, that takes me to slide 22.
That's it. Well done. You guys are both like masters of timing here. It's awesome. I love it. There's some people I need to like bring in the hook and say, okay, you're done. You guys are like spot on. It's great. How did you feel, Levi, doing that?
You know what? I felt pretty good at the beginning, and I feel like I hit a little snag there towards about 75% of the way through. Mm-hmm. I actually made an error there about having you guys shout out about life lessons, and I remembered it as I was getting ready to finish, so I like finished off with that. I'd like to move that up a little bit. Okay. But it was decent. I talked to Ross before the call. It's all about making mistakes, the elm tree, right? So I know that I'll get better, but I thought it was a decent first run.
Yeah, I agree. I love it when you can feel energy through a screen. You know, I just can imagine you in a room full of people. Your energy will just be contagious, and that's pretty awesome. Ruben had to go, but he said, he sent me some comments, and he said, very strong demo. Loved your attitude, loved your energy, loved your smile. He's very big into like when trainers actually look like they're enjoying themselves. He thought that was great. His only recommendation was the use of the word kind of. Yeah. You probably didn't even realize you did it, but you know, that's something so small. A lot of people do that. But when you say kind of, it's just not as strong of a sentence. Right. So just be aware of that. That's something that Ruben picks out a lot in a lot of people that I don't even notice sometimes. But he's a wordsmith. So that was his suggestion right there.
Yeah. No, that's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Yep. Ryan or Ross, I'd love to hear from you guys. What did you like about what Levi did if you were actually a coach in his workshop? And then do you have a suggestion for him moving to the next step?
I just think, Levi, you feel really real. Like this is something that you're extremely passionate about, and it comes across at a really high level. And I think people can relate to that. You're a little more raw. You're maybe not as polished as a public speaker per se, but I think that really helps with the relativity, you know, that they're getting to connect with you on an individual basis. So I think that's huge. I think the other thing that I like is probably about, 25-30% of the way through. You referenced you referenced Kelly coaching girls and how, there's always a perception of my situation's unique, right? And you did a really good job of saying, you know what, even though you coach girls, I coach high school boys, it's the exact same issue. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that I run into a lot where, all potential partners, all coaches, they all think their situation is very, very unique and they feel like they're on an island. And I think the more you can help connect those dots, the more impactful it is and more eye-opening it is. So I thought you did a really good job there.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, good suggestion. Any things he could improve on, Ryan, moving forward?
I think just the, like you mentioned, Levi, you kind of lost track of yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's great to see that your timing was still spot on. I think the one thing I can see with you, just because you are so passionate about this, in a full workshop, it's really easy to get derailed a little bit and start going on some personal, personal stories. So that would be the only thing that I just kind of, make sure from a timing perspective, when you've got a longer session, that you've kind of got that window of going down your personal story route. But then can easily pull it back to whatever that next transition is. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Ross?
You crushed it, man. That was awesome. I love your energy. Wish I could be in your clinic. So what I really liked was kind of your one-liners and definition in your own words. So I really enjoyed how you talked about a workshop, how you opened up at first that this is interactive. This is not your typical thing. I really like that. I like your thermometer analogy of a coach, how it brings everybody up. And then I love the common sense is not always common practice. I cracked up when you said that. That's awesome. And then I enjoyed how you set up, how do you want to be remembered? I liked how you did that. No, you did a good job.
Thanks, Ross.
All right. Any suggestions for him, Ross, moving forward?
Nothing that hasn't already been said.
All right. All right. Thanks. I think, Levi, you're going to get the coaches to really buy into you right away, just because you're comfortable. Any guy that's up there, willing to make us say woohoo, and then like critiquing our woohoo, saying they're not that great. I mean, that's just fun. And, I'm similar in that way. And it's amazing how many adults will sit there and look at you like, woohoo, like really? But then, after they get going, they get into it and they have fun and they're like, wow, this is so much more fun than just sitting at a lecture. So keep doing what you're doing. I think that's awesome. And just the way you were saying, it's great to meet you. It's nice. Like, I felt like you really cared about us and you wanted to get to know us as coaches. And that is just going to help your workshop, because the more you can tailor it. One of the questions that I say at the beginning of my workshops, I always ask about the coach that made the most impact. And then I ask them, what's your greatest challenge? And sometimes just having a little bit of insight as to what their challenges are. Some coaches have said, or trainers have said, what's your greatest accomplishment? What are you most proud of? And what's your greatest challenge? Just any way to get inside their lives a little bit to see where you're headed. And I think you have a good handle on that. The one thing I wrote down, the thermometer comment as well, but I actually heard a trainer say one step better, which I liked, where he said coaches are actually the thermostat, not the thermometer. And I thought that was excellent, because coaches are supposed to set the climate.
Gotcha.
We're not just taking the temperature of where the athletes are, because that means they're in charge. We are the thermostat. So I wanted to share that because I thought that was really cool.
Heck yeah. I like that.
Isn't that good? And the other thing too, one of the things that I do, I can't stand the slide that says, do you agree or disagree? Positivity works better. Like I hate that slide. Yeah. So I do similar to you do. I say, here's my statement. Positivity works better than negativity. If you agree, I want you to stand on that side of the room. If you disagree, this side of the room, somewhere in the middle, get in the middle. And they make like a value line. And I wouldn't do that probably with 100 coaches in a small room, but if the setting is right. And it can be a really cool 3-minute debate where you've got somebody from this side of the room, tell me why. Somebody from this side of the room, why do you disagree? Somebody that's in the middle, what do you think? And then after the positive side gives their perspective, negative side gives their perspective, I say, okay, anybody want to move sides? Anybody want to switch? And then by the end, you get everybody to move over to the positive side. So your point's been made. So sometimes it takes until you put up the next question that says, if you do get these 3 things, if you're all coached by positive coaches, what can happen? And then anyway, just another way to just giving you ideas, another way to do it.
No, that's
I wanted to hear more. If you talked about Coach, I don't know, you might have talked about Coach Sacco in Ross's, I don't know, but you brought him up twice, and then you brought him up that he was your football coach and you wanted to play tennis because of him. So I want to hear, what did he do? What was so great about him that he made you probably didn't even like tennis, but you were willing to play it because the coach was coaching. Like that's a huge impact right there. And it's the same thing I said to Ross, give me a little bit of insight into you, because there's a reason you're here. And it's probably because of coaches like that made you want to coach, but plus made you want to now go out and tell coaches how to coach. Not everybody wants to do that. So I want to hear a little bit more about your story. And I know that, especially being a high school football coach, you've got a ton of things and you touched on it at the end by talking about, these players, they're a son, they're a brother, that's a little bit of insight into the way you coach, but I think I'd like to hear a little bit more of that.
Perfect. So that's one thing I'd love to continue to work on, is to sort of be able to share some of those things. I was going into this, I was very unsure of did it have to be exactly on script? Mm-hmm. Or we allowed? And then Ryan made that good point of, you don't want to share too much, you don't want to get derailed and all that. So finding that perfect balance, personal, but also, I want to be PCA brand, I want to do it the right way. That's going to be fun to work on in practice. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, we usually say if you keep your stories to about 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Now, if you time my stories are rarely 60 seconds. But if that's a good guideline of about 60 seconds for a story, and also to keep in the back of your mind, the best story that you have, I bet there's 5 other people in the room that have a story that's better.
Yeah.
So also be willing to pull out a story out of the coaches. It's better when you can pull it out of them.
Heck yeah.
But if not, you know what? That is an awesome story. Let me tell you, after you've heard from me, I told you about my coach. I told you about what she did. That's awesome. Let me tell you about a coach that made a huge impact on me. His name was Coach Sacco, and this is what he did, and this is how he made me feel. And, So sometimes your stories are just kind of enhancing what the coaches have already said.
Yep.
Sometimes you might have a great story and you might say, you know what, now's not the time.
Yeah.
Even though you think it's an awesome story, time's going, people are sharing too much, and you need to just, park it for another time.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's a balance. I liked what else? Oh, I love quotes. I think quotes are great. A lot of times at workshops, people will write down quotes. I often say, if you're going to say a quote, figure out who it's from.
Yeah.
So, like a goal without a plan is just a wish. Was that Herm Edwards? Was it Steve Young? Was it, whoever it was? Just make sure that you know who the quote was from. And that's, a 2-second Google, but it's always just helpful. It's just a little more powerful when you know who's saying it.
Absolutely.
And the last one I love, the more that you teach the life lessons, the more you want to win. I mean, that's a solid statement right there. And I've never heard that said. And I am going to steal that and use that because it's so true. If you've got that part down, they are going to want to win more. So I thought that was awesome. And I just love how you ended on a strong note, about the players that you're coaching and just saying that, just even the sentence that they're somebody's son, they're somebody's brother. Like that makes me know that you're coaching people. Yeah. You're not just coaching players. It's not just a transaction for you. And that's really important. So I'm just excited. I think it's really cool how strong both of you are, and you're both very different. And I think that's a cool thing to be able to see. A lot of people say, well, I want to do it this way, this one way. And I'm like, there's 150 trainers in the country and they're all different. And that's the beauty of it. That's why Ryan goes out there to sell you a live workshop to partners. He can sell online workshops to any partner where they go through PowerPoints on a computer, and that's an option. But if he's going to work hard to get these coaches to come out and see you, they want you. They want a live person. They just don't want a PowerPoint clicker. So I think it's awesome.
Definitely.
Thank you.
I think kind of along those lines too. One thing that Freeman Blade, one of our lead trainers here in Cleveland, does an amazing job of throughout all of his workshops is he tries to make it his mission to learn the name, if it's a smaller group, learn the name of at least half, if not all of the participants that are in the room, and then specifically call on them by name.
Yeah.
When they're doing the engaging pieces. And I think the first time I went to the workshop, I was like, this is kind of awkward a little bit. And then as I got through the rest of the workshop, I'm like, man, they listened to every single one of his words, because I think part of it was the fear that they'd be called on. But you could tell he had a personal connection with those individuals as he was continuing. And then on top of that, when you're in a room with coaches, especially if it's at a school, a lot of those coaches don't know each other unless it's their assistant coaches. And so from just a culture building aspect and team building aspect, it's kind of a cool addition to have people get to know each other's names outside of their sports seasons. So there's I think Freeman does it probably better than anybody I've ever seen. And you can see a lot of people go up and talking to him afterwards and wanting to pick his brain individually. And the other part is there's always that one person in the room that you can tell just doesn't want to be there. And I almost feel like every time Frieden enters a room, he picks that person out and breaks them down over the course of the workshop. And all of a sudden at the end, they're one of the most engaging participants. So I think it's obviously a specific skill, and it's something that he's really good at, but I think it's something that personal piece and using their name is really, really impactful.
Yeah. And I like, Levi, you did that in the very beginning by just asking, your name, what sport you coach, where you're from, that'll just help you a lot. And there's a fine line. Again, if there's 20 coaches, do it. If there's 60, have them introduce themselves to somebody else. But it does definitely help. You can also, what I'll do a lot too is because I do football workshops, I do baseball workshops. Obviously, I never played tackle football, but that way I can go back and say, hey, yeah, Levi, you were the high school football coach. How would you use this in your sport? Or how would you use, what kind of unsuccessful effort can you reward in cross country? I have no idea. Ross, help me out here. So it makes you feel like you don't have to be the expert. You can call on the people in the room that know better than you do. So what I want to say to both of you guys, because I think you're both in the same boat, I offer 3 demos. We do I have everybody do the introductory demo. And then the final demo is where usually I'll bring the chapter in, which today you had Ruben and you had Ryan. I have no qualms about sending you guys out to workshops as soon as possible. However, I want to give you a chance to practice because, as you know, the more you practice, the better you get. So what I've been doing lately, because August is our busiest month for workshops, and I know I just looked and there's a slew of them. Ryan must have been selling his butt off because there's a slew of workshops in Ohio right now. So I don't want to hold you guys up by saying you need to do demo number 2 and then you need to do demo number 3 before we get you out to a live workshop. So what I'm going to do is put the ball in your court and just say, if you guys feel comfortable and you just want to do one more final demo of one of the principles, because that's a little bit different than an introduction. Every principle starts sort of with like a theory, the principle itself, a scenario, which is how you get the coaches to engage with it, and then the tools. The most important part of every scenario are the tools, because that's what the coaches want to know. Getting the coaches to practice using these tools in a workshop. So for your final, I'd like to see you do one of those, but you don't have to do a third demo for me, because I'm confident with both of you. And in the meanwhile, what I'd love to do is get you scheduled to get out and co-facilitate at part of a workshop. So if that's okay with you guys, I hate to lose this window of time when there's workshops happening like every day right around you.
Yeah.
That sounds great to me.
Okay, cool. So let me know when you want to run through the final. I think I did send you guys the workshops just last week, the workshops that are all coming up in the area. I can send it again if you want it. But take a look. If they're Double Gold Coach 1 workshops, which are the best ones for you guys to get out to, because that's what you've studied, those are the best. Those are the easiest to plug you in. But if it's a different workshop, we've got, loads of different types of workshops, and it works for your schedule, we can have you just do a tiny little piece of it. So take a look at the list. Let me know when you're ready to do the last final piece, and we'll try to get you out as soon as we can.
Awesome.
If I could you please send that again? Just because I deleted it thinking I wouldn't be able to attend anyway. So I'd love to do that. Cool.
I will send it out. And what I'll do is I'll send it out by all the coach workshops first, and then I'll send you the list of all of them, so you know all the workshops are happening. But I'll sort it out by the workshop, so you know which ones.
Sweet.
All right. Does that sound okay with you, Ryan?
Sounds perfect.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for your time, guys.
Everybody.
Yep. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.